Hi everyone, yasas, que kalos to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. If you saved that tirokafteri or that spicy feta dip that we made the other day, you're going to be so happy because we're going to make these delicious chicken sliders with that spicy feta dip, some balsamic glaze. So good. This thing is going to be so good. Your friends and family are going to love this. Let's get started. Okay, so we're going to begin with a whole chicken. I'm going to roast a fresh chicken over here, but if you have rotisserie chicken, you could just shred that up and use it, or your favorite chicken. You're going to need about 3 or 4 cups of it. So I have a chicken over here that I've spatchcocked, and I'm also going to slice it here and there on the breast and on the thighs, so that way the seasoning can go inside. I'm going to drizzle some olive oil on top first, then we're going to season it with salt, freshly cracked black pepper, some crushed red pepper flakes if you like them, otherwise you can leave them out, a teaspoon of sweet paprika. This is not smoked paprika. If you don't have sweet paprika, you can just leave it out. 1 teaspoon of ground coriander, a teaspoon of ground cumin, a teaspoon or a little bit more of fresh crushed oregano, and then some garlic powder. I'm going to just flip it over and season it with salt and pepper on the back side. Flip it back over so that way it could be skin side up. My oven is preheated to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. This is going to roast for 45 to 55 minutes or until the thickest part of the chicken registers 165 degrees using a digital thermometer. It takes about 55 minutes. Once it comes out of the oven, let it cool completely. Then just pick all of the meat off of the bones. I just take the skin off and all of the bones and I set it aside. I like to toss the chicken in the juices that are in the pan for maximum flavor. And I also like to drizzle a little bit of balsamic glaze on top of it. It just adds a tiny bit of sweetness that's going to go really well with that spicy feta dip. And then I like to slice up 4 to 5 scallions really thin, add those to the chicken, a little bit more balsamic glaze, toss everything together and give it a taste. If it needs some more seasoning, which I doubt it will because it has so much flavor, you can add it at this point. And now it's time to put everything all together. So reduce the oven's temperature to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I have these Hawaiian rolls here. I'm just going to slice them horizontally down the center. I'm not going to pick each one apart because then it's going to be so hard to layer this all together. Take the bottom half and put it in a 9 by 13 inch baking pan. Spread some of that tirokafteri, that spicy feta dip on the bottom side. And then I also like to sprinkle some cheese on top. I'm using shredded mozzarella, but cheddar works really well in this. So does any kind of Mexican shredded cheese or any cheese that melts well. They'll all work in here. Then I'm going to top as much of the chicken as I can over the cheeses. I'm going to take the other half or the top portion of the buns and I'm going to spread that tirokafteri feta dip on top of that as well on the cut side of it. Sprinkle lots of mozzarella over the chicken. Put the top of the buns over the cheese and the chicken and all of that so that way everything is covered. Over here I've melted 3 tablespoons of salted butter. I'm just going to add a little bit of garlic powder to it and just brush it to the tops of the buns. I'm also going to sprinkle some dried oregano on top. I like to put a piece of parchment paper. I just crumble it up and put it on top, and then I cover it with foil just so that way the foil isn't touching the food. I'm going to let this bake in the oven for about 20 minutes covered. Then I'm going to uncover it and let it toast for about 5-6 minutes or 5 to 10 minutes. Take it out of the oven, let it rest a little bit, and it'll be time to serve. Oh my goodness, once these come out of the oven, the house is just going to smell amazing. I can't wait to dig in. You should wait a few minutes just so that way everything settles. I would also say make an extra batch because these taste good the next day too. Let's do the taste test. Oh my goodness. So good. You can definitely taste the spiciness from that feta dip. As it sits in the fridge, it does tend to get a little bit spicier. So keep that in mind if you don't want this as spicy. Add less pepper to it. I love it because mine also has the kalamata olives from when I garnished it when I made the video. I just packed it up and put it in the fridge. So it still had the kalamata olives and it had the parsley and the pine nuts, which are not included in this recipe, but it goes really well and you should add those in as well. And you get that the pull from the mozzarella cheese. The chicken has so much flavor, especially with the balsamic glaze. Don't skip that because it adds just the right flavor to balance out the spicy cheesiness of the feta dip. It's so good. You guys are going to absolutely love this. I hope you give this recipe a try. If you don't want to use these Hawaiian rolls, you can definitely put this in a croissant and make it in a croissant just the same way I made my spanakopita croissant and my chicken salad croissant. it's another idea to use the same filling, but just in different ways. I hope you guys give this recipe a try, and if you do, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I'll see you all next time. Yasas.